Welcome to the deep dive. So today we're diving into, well, it's a really interesting take on something we don't always question, like the whole idea of need. You sent us this audio, the need.m4a, and, well, it got us thinking. So we're going to unpack some of these ideas with you.
Yeah, and this excerpt, like right out of the gate, it throws out this concept that might seem kind of radical, existing without actually needing anything.
It really makes you stop and think, huh? Because, I mean, usually we see need as like just this given, right, part of life.
Right.
But this recording, it's connecting it to like struggle and competition, even war. And then it kind of throws out this totally different way of being.
Yeah. And it's not just like a surface level critique of those things either. It like
Yeah.
digs into those ingrained beliefs about how we think the world works.
Yeah.
It argues that this whole constant striving for what we lack, this whole feeling of I need this or I need to be that, that's what's actually keeping us from, really experiencing the present moment.
Okay, so let's talk about this whole living in the now thing a bit more. That feels like a pretty central theme here.
Oh, absolutely. And what's so interesting is how the need.m4a describes being fully present as a state where, get this, need just kind of dissolves. It argues that when we're totally present, not like stuck in thoughts about the past or worried about the future, that's when we really connect with like our true selves. And that's where this feeling of wholeness comes in.
So it's saying that in those moments of just pure presence, that's where we actually get a glimpse of what it means to like need nothing beyond just what we already have.
Exactly. It's like, think about when you get so captivated by like a piece of music
Oh, yeah.
that the rest of the world just fades away.
Yeah.
You're not thinking about like what's for dinner or that deadline you're facing. You're just completely there in that experience.
Totally.
And this recording is arguing that this feeling, this complete absorption, that's like a hint, like a little peek into a deeper truth about like
Yeah.
our true nature.
Wow. That's powerful. And it makes me think about like how often I'm chasing after something, whether it's a promotion or just like some sense of security, whatever. What if those times, those moments where we're just totally present, like getting lost in music, what if those are actually glimpses of a more like fundamental way of being?
That is exactly the question this recording is pushing us to explore. It's challenging us to ask, what if who we truly are isn't defined by what we lack or need, but by the sense of wholeness, a sense of being complete that we can tap into through simply being present?
Yeah, and that's where this gets really interesting to me. The recording then goes on to connect our sense of need to like our primal survival instincts. Can you talk more about that?
Sure. It basically argues that for most of human history, need was absolutely crucial for survival. Think about it. If our ancestors weren't constantly aware of their need for food, shelter, safety, they wouldn't have lasted very long.
Right. It was life or death.
Exactly. But, and here's where things get really interesting, the recording takes this unexpected turn. It argues that in today's world, where a lot of us have those basic needs met, that primal drive might be, well, kind of outdated,
Okay.
maybe even holding us back.
Interesting. So this instinct, this drive to constantly be striving for something, which at one point, was the reason we survived, could actually be working against us now.
That is the argument. The recording suggests that this primal drive, so perfectly tuned for a different time, a different world, well, it might be misfiring now in our modern world. And that's leading to, well, unnecessary competition, anxiety, even conflict. It suggests that maybe, just maybe, letting go of this constant need, this feeling of lack, could be the key to unlocking a whole new way of being.
It's not as easy as just deciding not to need anything, though, right? Like the recording talks about this fear that comes with letting go, this fear of the unknown.
Oh, absolutely. It definitely acknowledges the anxiety, even terror that can come up when we actually try to imagine a life where we aren't constantly striving for something.
Yeah.
It's deeply ingrained in us.
It's like, okay, think about when you're hiking, right? You're on this familiar trail, and then you see another path veering off into, who knows where. Even if you're curious, there's a part of you that hesitates. Like it's unfamiliar, maybe even a little scary.
Such a great analogy.
Hmm.
And the need.m4a touches on this too. It points out that this very real fear of the unknown, this fear of what happens if I let go of my needs, it's a powerful force. It keeps us tethered to our current way of being, even when that way of being is causing suffering.
Okay, so we've been talking about the fear, but it's not all like doom and gloom with this audio, right? The need.m4a doesn't just like point out the hard parts. It actually paints this picture of what the world could be like if we could actually shift our whole perspective.
Right. Yeah, it lays out this future where that constant sense of like, not enough, that I need more feeling, it gets replaced by the sense of abundance, of being, fulfilled.
Yeah.
And it directly links that to this idea of a world without conflict, without suffering.
It sounds kind of utopian, right? Like a world without war or poverty or even greed, because everyone's needs are met, and not just like basic needs, but like genuine well-being. But what's different here is it's not about some outside force making this perfect world, right? It's about us. It's about us individually and like
Mm.
as a whole actually transcending these needs that we think we have.
Exactly. It's not about reaching some perfect state of bliss.
Yeah.
It's about tapping into something that's already there within us. The recording suggests that every single one of us has the capacity for this shift, for accessing this sense of wholeness and abundance.
It makes you wonder, though, right? Like, what if that really is the key? What if letting go of this need for more stuff, more status, whatever, what if that's actually the path to creating the kind of world we all, like, dream of? A world where everyone can thrive? I mean, what do you think?
It's a huge question, for sure. One worth thinking about. And to be fair, this recording doesn't exactly present it as a guaranteed outcome. Like, it acknowledges that we're at a crossroads.
Oh, huh.
Some people are embracing this whole evolution of consciousness thing, and others, well, they're holding on to these familiar patterns of needing, of constantly striving.
So it's not like we're all going to wake up tomorrow and just poof, no more needs. It's more like it's on each of us to choose.
Precisely. It's about individual choice, and then, how those individual choices, they ripple outwards, they impact everything around us.
Which kind of brings up this other big question, doesn't it?
It does.
Like, what choice are we each going to make? Are we going to stick with what's familiar, even if those needs, those desires are causing suffering, for ourselves or others? Or are we going to take a chance on the unknown? Step into a way of being that maybe, just maybe, is more in line with who we truly are deep down.
Now, those are questions worth sitting with. No easy answers there.
Yeah.
But I think even just thinking about them, wrestling with these ideas, that can spark something within us.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Even if it's just noticing those patterns in ourselves, those needs and desires that are constantly running in the background, like even just seeing them feels like, I don't know, like a step.
And the need.4a,
Yeah.
it doesn't leave us hanging there, right? Grappling with these huge questions without a sense of hope. Like, it ends by saying that if a critical mass of people embrace this shift in consciousness, it could actually trigger a global transformation.
I feel like this chain reaction,
Yeah.
One person chooses to let go and that inspires someone else and then someone else and it just kind of spreads.
Exactly. And it's not vague about it either. Like,
Yeah.
the recording actually describes this transformed world, and it's vivid. It evokes this sense of like wonder and possibility. It talks about resources flowing freely, where joy is just a normal way of being, and humanity's like full potential, it's unleashed.
So instead of a world defined by scarcity and competition, it's about abundance and collaboration.
Yes. And it makes this connection that this transformation, it's not just about, having enough stuff. It goes deeper than that. It's about a wellspring of fulfillment that comes from within, from really getting that we are interconnected, that we are already whole.
It's like, I don't know, we could actually evolve past all these limitations we put on ourselves, like create a reality that actually reflects a totally different way of being,
That's really what it comes down to, yeah.
Mhm.
The need.m4a is making us think about, like, maybe this shift isn't about perfectly meeting every need we have, at least not in the way we usually think about it. It's more about, like, tapping into this deeper sense of fulfillment. And that comes from a different place.
Yeah.
It comes from recognizing, like, we are whole, we are connected to everything around us already.
Yeah. Wow, this has been, a real deep dive. I don't know about you, but this whole thing, this recording, it's really got me looking at need in a whole new way. It's
Yeah.
so easy to get caught up in just trying to get stuff, Like there's always something more we need to be happy, to feel safe and secure.
Absolutely. It's like this feeling that's, always there in the background. But whether someone listens to the need.m4a and buys into that whole utopian vision or not, it definitely makes you think, right, what if we actually challenge those assumptions about what we need to thrive,
Yeah.
to be happy, to just feel, content and fulfilled?
Right. It really gets under your skin. And it leaves us with this like really big question. What if our needs were actually truly met? What would be possible then? Not just for each of us, but for the whole world.
Definitely something to think about.
Mm.
And, who knows, maybe just by asking that question, we've already started to shift something within ourselves.
That's something to chew on, right? So, until next time on The Deep Dive, keep exploring, keep asking those big questions, and as always, keep diving deeper into the ideas that shape our world.